Welcome back to Morrissey and Wine. My name's George. I'm a newspaper journalist based in the UK and, of course, pretty big Morrissey and Smiths fan.
Chris, also a big Morrissey fan.
Oh, just Morrissey?
Morrissey and the Smiths. Morrissey and the Smiths. Yeah.
Got to be careful there. So the last time you saw us was in Manchester for our live edition in front of an audience as part of the annual Moz Army Festival in Manchester.
Yeah.
How do you feel that went?
It was obviously a bit nerve-wracking. Although actually, surprisingly, I think you were a bit more nervous than I was, which I didn't expect. Because when we were sat in our tuxedos in the side room, sort of getting ready to go on.
Yeah, I was nervous. But what was nice about it was, like, when we're doing this together, we're here in the studio with Gary, it's just the three of us. If you say something funny or you think it's funny, you don't really know if it is or not. When you're doing it there in front of the audience and all the people I'm very glad they came, they will actually laugh in the room if it's funny, and then you go, oh, okay.
So you got at least one laugh, didn't you?
Yeah, I got at least one. No, it was really good. Thank you everybody for coming along, and if you couldn't make it, I hope you enjoyed watching the episode. Now we're back in the studio. It's the first time that we haven't been freezing cold in here because it's a very hot day.
Yeah, the magic of the camera makes it look probably okay when we're in here, but we're sort of, as soon as we get out of shot, put the jackets back on. Really cold, but today it's the opposite.
Yeah.
We can't regulate heat.
It's a rare thing. It's sunny in the UK.
Yeah.
Okay, so what have we got coming up? Today, on today's episode, we have an interview with Mark Nevin. So Mark Nevin, when Stephen Street departed from Morrissey's solo sort of partnership, Morrissey needed a new co-writer, and he turned to Mark Nevin. So Mark Nevin wrote the vast majority of Kill Uncle, and was responsible for that kind of sound. And so Morrissey and Mark Nevin worked together between 1990 and 1992. Mark also was pivotal in Fairground Attraction, and they had a single called Perfect, which went to #1 around the world. So that was before he worked with Morrissey. He was already quite established, you know. I found that a really interesting interview.
I'm really excited to hear that.
Yeah. What else have we got coming up?
So then we have Nanny Val Reacts. So Nanny Val was coming in the studio.
Yeah.
And this time she has actually seen the real deal, the real McCoy. She's seen Morrissey in Manchester at the Coop.
Yes, at the Co-op, yeah. She did. And lots of people came up and said hello to Nanny Val, which was really nice.
Not to you, though.
No one said hello to me. Well, I'm glad, actually. But lots of people said hello to you. Lots of people said hello to Nanny Val. That was nice. Oh. We also have the trivia quiz coming up.
Yes.
So that's 10 questions that Chris is going to ask me, bits of trivia from Morrissey and the Smiths, 40-year catalogue.
Yes, we have that. Then we're going to analyse the lyrics to a Morrissey or Smith song. And this time we are going with Scandinavia, which has been on the set list the whole tour. Whole recent tour.
This year's tour, 2025.
Yeah.
And we're also doing, if you love Morrissey, then you'll love this, which is our recommendations of things that we like. We think if you like Morrissey or the Smiths, you're probably going to like this as well.
Yeah. So shall we have some wine?
I was just about to say that. Yes. Let's have some wine.
Okay.
So I've got a Sauvignon Blanc, and Chris has got a red Primo. Oh gosh.
Primitivo.
Is it Primitivo?
Primitivo.
It says Primo on here.
Yeah, I think that's short. I think it's a Primitivo wine.
Okay.
Do you want to read the notes for mine?
Yes. Okay. So in the heel of Italy's boot, you'll find Puglia, the home of Primitivo. It's a big, plush and velvety wine with ripe flavours of, can you taste this? Cherry, raspberry and red currant. You picking up on that?
Yeah, some of it.
Such a bullshit.
There's banana in there as well.
Says here that a rich meaty stew makes the perfect partner. Shall we have a rich meaty stew on the Morrissey and Wine podcast?
Oh, I don't think that'll go down well.
I don't think it
Maybe
would.
we can have a corn meaty stew.
Okay, well that's the Primo Appassimento.
And yours is a...
I was just going to say that yours were both around £10.
Yes.
Yours was $9.50, was it? Or
yeah, I think so, yeah.
Mine was like $10.50. We're all about mid-range wine here at the Morrissey and Wine podcast. Now, do you want to read mine? Mine's a Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah, so it's it says here, crisp and zesty. A crisp and zesty number. It's from Marlborough in New Zealand, which is interesting, nice place, I'm
Where
sure.
all the billionaires are going to escape when it's the apocalypse.
Is that because it's not on most maps? New Zealand's cut off, so then probably like Putin or Kim Jong-un won't see it and won't go for it, maybe.
Yeah.
So it does also say here that it's got its characteristic notes are gooseberry, passion fruit, and citrus.
Passion fruit and citrus, yeah.
And snozzberry as well.
Snozberries taste like snozberries.
What's that from?
Charlie and Chocolate Factory.
Yes.
Or is it Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? What's the film
I think
called?
the first one was Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which is not the name of the Roald Dahl book. That was Charlie.
And it's boring me now.
I like Roald Dahl. Not his views on
everything.
On every head. Okay, yeah. And it says ideal for goat's cheese, asparagus, or an Asian style seafood dish.
Aging seafood sounds lovely. And we're drinking these out of, I don't know if you can catch that, Gary, but our Morrissey and wine glasses that are personalised, Chris and George. These are from Annalisa at shedcrafts.co.uk. That's shed-crafts.co.uk.
You can buy your own Morrissey and wine glass with your name on it.
They'll put your logo on anything, and it's a family friend, and she did these for us for free, and I really appreciate it.
Because she also did some prizes at the Moz Army. We had the raffle, which is why a lot of people actually go to Moz Army for the raffle.
Yeah, the raffle was pretty good actually.
Yeah. I think
good prizes.
I was quite drunk when I was drawing my tickets, but I think I did a good job. I was a bit late on though.
I'll just say, I don't think we said the name of the wine. It's a CBM Sauvignon Blanc. We said Chris's Prima Appassimento. We'll put the names of the wine. Actually, we're going to start doing this. Put the names of the wine in the description of the podcast and the price, and then maybe you can find it at home and try it for yourself.
It's really good. There's nothing primitive about this Primitivo.
Okay. Also, just before we go into the quiz, we want to show you our new t-shirts.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So there's 3. They have been designed by Bo, who is All You Needed Moz on Instagram. There you go. You can hold that.
You can hold that one.
Oh, okay.
In your hands.
So Bo is like the meme master of the Morrissey world. He's designed this, which is striptease with a difference. This is my favorite, actually.
Then my favorite is this one because we've got an important back print. I think back print is very important.
Oh, the back. I'll show you the back first. Yeah. So the back, Morrissey. And on the front, Morrissey in a Kiss My Shades picture, which I'd actually never seen before, Bo.
Wearing his shades.
Yes, wearing his shades. And finally, we have the funny one, the wild card.
The wild card. This is the Patricia Routledge answer. This is
Judy and Clary.
Judy and Clary. I'm not feeling myself. I've not been feeling myself tonight.
So we've got those 3. They're £25 each. We'll ship anywhere. We'll ship anywhere, love.
I know the local post office really doesn't like when I go in, but they it was cool because when I was at the Morrissey gig in Manchester, someone had obviously got overheated and got carried over this guy, and he was walked by the security carefully out, and he was wearing the Patricia Routledge t-shirt.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Wow. So you can buy those from morrisseymerch.com or just find us on socials, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, and click the link in our bio. You'll find a way to have a look at those t-shirts and check them out.
And Bo does a great job of the designs, we think.
Yes. Bo does a great job. And it was nice to meet him for real.
Yeah. We weren't sure if he was a real person or not, but apparently he is.
And we also met Ryan Lowry, didn't we? The photographer, Morrissey's sort of regular photographer now.
Did he show you the picture? He took a picture of Nanny Val. Did we see that?
No, but he's going to send it to us.
Right.
He didn't send it to Morrissey though. He said he didn't think that was going to end up on Central. I quite agree actually.
All the pictures recently are all the even younger than us, like young people.
Yeah.
Whereas not quite as young as this.
No, I'm not. And of course, we met Jesse Tobias. He popped out of the Manchester Cup Arena gig to say hello to Nanny Val because he's a big fan of Nanny Val.
Yeah, but you didn't tell him the line that I wanted you to tell him.
What was it? Bore us again.
No, I just thought it was funny. Obviously, I queued up because I wanted to be at the front for the Morrissey show. So I said, say to Jesse, I couldn't be there because I had a gig to go to, but...
Yes, well, funnily enough, I didn't actually
funny,
pass it on. But thank you, Jesse, for meeting Nanny Val. She really appreciated it. Shall we go into the quiz?
Yes, let's.
Okay, well, cheers, Chris.
Cheers, George.
And cheers to you at home. Let's go into the quiz.
Feeling lucky? Okay, so it's time for the quiz.
Yeah.
So in the last episode, the live episode, I quizzed, you quizzed me.
Yes.
And now I'm quizzing you.
Now the tales of Tom.
So I think we have to do, unfortunately, the bit that we always have to do.
Yes.
Do you get to sing?
The sing. I've got new lyrics, which I debuted at the live episode in Manchester.
So you actually got to sing on the Starring Artist stage.
I did. So new music, new lyrics. It's a whole new me. You want to hear them?
Describe want. Go on. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. This is your chance. Grasp the nettle and prove your mettle. There are people out there who know nothing of this trivia. You've waited all your life. It's quite sad if you stop and think. Never mind that. It's the Morrissey quiz. Hey?
Cheers.
Hey.
Hey.
Sorry, I left the reverb on. God's in the room. He's very disappointed with you, Chris. He's not angry, he's disappointed.
Disappointed. He would be. He sees everything, doesn't he?
What do you think of that?
Actually, you know what? It's the first time I didn't detest it.
You didn't internally cringe.
I got along with it a little bit. Maybe the key is I have wine a bit sooner in the episode, then I can go along with that.
Did I explain in the live one that I saw this video of it? It was like a Dale Winton guy, but it wasn't Dale Winton. I think I did say this. And he did this song like this at the start of a game show, and it was just so perfectly cheesy. And I can never find it again because I don't know what to type. I've typed in cheesy game show, speak singing. Nothing comes up.
I'll have to find it because it is. I do think. Obviously, I think you're very funny anyway. But I like the trivia.
Yeah.
To make it rhyme.
Yeah.
That's quite good.
Thank you.
Anyway. Now let's get into the quiz.
Okay.
So we've got 10 questions. This time I thought I'd make it a bit different because we've done quite a few quizzes now. It's getting hard to think of questions. There's not that much about Morrissey you can say.
Well, there's a whole encyclopedia.
No, I'm joking. Of course, there's quite a lot. So this one is the quiz is called this time. It's called White, Bora, or Tobias. Does that make sense? So the questions are going to be songs.
Yeah.
And you have to tell me who wrote the song with Morrissey.
Okay. White. Who was the second one?
Tobias and Bora.
Bora. Oh right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've obviously spoken to two of those.
Yes.
In previous episodes.
Yes.
Okay. So you ready for question one?
I am indeed.
Okay. So question one, this first song is "I Want to See the Boy Happy."
I Want to See the Boy Happy was obviously from Ringleader of the Tormentors. I know that Alan White wrote quite a bit for that album. I know he also wrote, this might be coming up, but Life is a Pigsty. So I'm going to say it was an Alan White one. Do you remember which way around the buttons are?
Yeah, I think so. That's a good question.
So I think it was Alan White. Is that correct or incorrect? Incorrect.
Incorrect. Yeah, that was Tobias.
Okay.
So
0.
So 0 so far. Question number 2, song number 2, I Can Have Both.
I Can Have Both from Maladjusted. Okay, I'm going to try and think about this a bit. So think about it.
That's how quizzes work, you think.
I'm going to put my thinking cap on. It's like slow and quite sort of, is it? Oh, it's sort of lolling, isn't it? I think it's a Boz song.
Final answer?
Final answer, Boz. I'm locking it in. Yes.
Well done. I think it's actually quite a hard quiz. For me, this is hard. This would be hard because it's not just trivia. It's about who wrote the songs.
Yeah.
Okay, song number 3, I Am Two People.
Okay, I Am Two People, which is a pretty rare track, isn't it? It must have been a B-side for something. Again, I think this was sort of late 90s, wasn't it? Early 2000s. I Am Two People, one of which you like, one of which you don't like.
One of which, for your sake, I never will show.
Yeah. I'm going to say, sorry, it's Boz, Alan, or Jesse.
Well, we're saying Bora, White, Tobias.
No, we're saying Boz, Alan, Jesse.
It's my quiz.
Well,
thank you.
There's a revolt underway, a mutiny. I think it was Boz.
That's what you get for being a clever dick. So
got one right. So
yeah, song number 4, I'm Hated for Loving.
Okay, I'm Hated for Loving from Vauxhall and I. Vauxhall and I. Who were the main guys on that? Well, Boz was always there. Jesse, I think Jesse came in more as Morrissey was like moving to LA. sort of late 90s, early 2000s. So I think it's either Alan or Boz. I'm going to go with Alan. Yes.
Well done. So that's 2, isn't it?
Yes.
Yep, 2. So song number 5.
Yeah.
All You Need Is Me.
You hiss and groan and you constantly moan. All You Need Is Me from Years of Refusal. That's got to be a Boz track because I think Boz wrote a lot of Years of Refusal. Oh, so painful.
Yeah.
It's George and Bells.
Which one? Who do you think it was then if it wasn't him?
No, that's just going to be stupid because I'll just get it wrong again.
Yeah, it makes me happy. It's Tobias that was.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Jesse.
It's got Next 2. One. All the Lazy Dykes. Was that Boz? Was that Alan?
Or was it Jesse? I think it was that Jesse lad. I'm saying Jesse's son.
You're from Yorkshire now?
Yeah. I think it's Jesse.
No, that was White.
Cool whip. Okay, that's kind of annoying, but
yeah.
Okay, what question number are we on?
We're on number 7.
Okay.
And this one is Ammunition.
Oh, right. Well, who wrote I Can Have Both? Because we've already done that one, so you can tell me.
I can't go back.
Oh, shit.
I can.
Okay, who was it?
It might not help you with Bora.
Well, I'm going to say Bora again. Because it's the same album and the same kind of sound. Yes. See, okay. I'm getting round your quiz using my tactics.
Tic Tacs.
Yeah. Is that why they're called Tic Tacs? Because it's tactic backwards. Never thought of that.
It's a different podcast. We're not a marketing podcast. Okay, so question number 8. A Black Cloud. One of my favourite songs.
Yes.
Black
Cloud. Again from Years of Refusal. Okay, well, I'm going to do it again. Who wrote the other one from Years of Refusal? All You Need Is Me.
The other one?
Yeah, the other one in the quiz. All You Need Is Me.
Tobias, apparently.
I'm going to say Tobias again then.
No, sadly not. That was Bora.
Okay.
2 questions left.
And I've only got 2 right.
Yeah.
Oh, no, 3 right. 3, I think.
Yeah, 3. Well, one was dubious, I think. Number 9, I Knew I Was Next.
Oh, okay.
I didn't mind.
I think that's a classic Boz track. So I'm going to say Boz.
Okay.
I don't know anything.
Yeah, you need to do a different podcast, I think. No, I'm joking. I think these are quite hard questions.
I did tell you how to do the quiz with reference to Morrissey trivia from the Mozopedia.
Your system.
My system, and you've completely ignored my system.
No, I used the system, but I made it lazy.
Yeah, you couldn't even...
Okay, so question number 10.
Yeah, let's get this over with.
I'm okay by myself.
I'm okay by myself. Again, from Years of Refusal. I think that you didn't even bother to turn the pages very much in the Mozopedia because they're all from the same time.
They're from the same sort of 5 pages.
Okay. I'm okay by myself. Years of Refusal. Well, I'll keep getting it wrong by saying Boz, so I'm going to say Jesse. Yes.
Well done.
So I got 4 out of 10.
Yeah.
Okay, well, how did you do at home? Better than me, probably. I mean, I focus much more on the lyrics in terms of what I prioritize when I'm enjoying the music.
Yeah, that's why that would have been a tough one for me, to be fair, because I didn't know all of those, so I think that would have been tough. But it's interesting because obviously we've spoken to 2 of those people as well, and hopefully we can speak to Jesse at some point. So it's good to know those things, but they are quite hard things to learn.
Yes, yeah. Well, let me just check our document. Okay, so next I think we've got Mrs. Nanny Val.
Oh, okay.
My grandma.
Is she en route? Is the motorcade on its way?
The state visit is about to arrive, yes. So Nanny Val, my grandma, I'm sure if you're a familiar listener of this podcast, you know who she is. She's my grandma. A year ago, she was a complete novice to Morrissey and the Smiths. She's been coming on every show to react to a song that she listens to for the first time. They're suggested by our Patreon members. So we don't know which one she's chosen.
We don't know yet. Okay.
Yeah, we're going to find out when she arrives.
But also she is a bona fide fan now because she's seen Morrissey as well, as we said earlier. So yeah.
So we'll see what she thought of the Manchester gig. She's met Jesse Tobias now, and she thinks Morrissey's really good, and I think that's pretty cool. So I'll just say cheers to you, Chris.
Cheers.
Cheers, and cheers to you at home. And let's say hello to Nanny Val.
Welcome back. Nanny Val is in the building. Hello, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Good, good.
So did you enjoy the Manchester gig?
I really did. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, quite an experience.
Yeah. So we went together, didn't we? And we
did.
sat in the seats pretty close to the stage.
Yes.
We were a bit annoyed, weren't we? Because people kept standing up in front of us.
Yeah, I thought, God, I paid a lot of money for these seats, and I need to stand as well, you know, because they were in front.
No, it's George's fault. He should have got you one on the front of the balcony.
Only a couple back, weren't we? And
I'm just going to move this microphone of yours over a little bit, Nan.
sorry.
That's okay. How's that?
There you go.
Okay.
Perfect. What's your favourite track, if you remember, from the night? Was there a song that sort of stood out for you?
I honestly, well, obviously, it would have been one of the ones that I'd already listened to. I can't remember the playlist, to be honest.
There were things like All You Need Is Me, I Wish You Lonely, Bonfire of Teenagers.
Bonfire of Teenagers, which is one,
high on my list, as you know. That
Yeah.
So I definitely, and being played in Manchester, obviously that was quite meaningful, you know.
Yeah.
But I was astounded by, we went in early and it was empty, and I couldn't believe it. That whole stadium was going to fill up, which it obviously did.
And it got really full.
Yeah.
You also you made someone's day as well. You met Jesse.
Oh, he made my day. Yeah. He was really lovely. Such a nice guy.
Yeah, he came out, took the time to come out for 10 minutes, say hello to you, didn't he?
Yeah.
It's very sweet.
Yeah.
So this episode, Nan, tell me the song that you've picked from the Patreon suggestions.
I picked You Have Killed Me.
You Have Killed Me, okay, from Ringleader of the Tormentors, the 2006 album. Okay, well, it's quite a forceful, energetic song, isn't it? What was your first impression when you first heard it?
Well, again, I had quite a few to listen to. I had 12 in all. And this one just grabbed me. Sometimes, you know, when I'm listening, I go, not really, that's not me.
Yeah.
And this one I immediately sort of cottoned onto and liked it. This is also one with Morrissey and Jesse, coincidentally, that wrote this one with him.
So the song is sort of saying that nothing was happening in his life. Nothing entered me, I entered nothing, until someone comes along with what he describes as a key and sort of changes his world, doesn't it?
Yes.
Is it a romantic song, do you think?
Well, you know, my research, I go into lots of things, and there was apparently a quote, I think it was in the New Musical Express, I'm not sure, from Morrissey in 2006, saying that he was no longer celibate. So I think this is him, because he said everything should be documented. In another interview I heard that he says whatever you're going through as a writer, it should be documented. And I think this was about him no longer being celibate.
Yes.
So there's lots of sexual innuendos and metaphors in it. So I think that's what it's about.
Yeah, well, we know that Morrissey wasn't celibate for a long time before this, because he had his relationship with Jake Walters in the 90s.
Yeah.
So a woman called Tina in the 2000s. So we know he had, if he ever was celibate, and sometimes some
He
people
claimed to be for so many years. I
yes.
believe,
But I think you're right to point this out, because the album there's Dear God, Please Help Me, isn't there? Which is also about a sexual relationship, I think. And, you know, after it happens, he walks through Rome and his heart is free, you know. So I think that is a key bit of the song.
Yeah, and this was a time when he spent in Rome. He was there for about a year.
Which a lot of the lyrics reference that, don't they? With like films and Italian actors as well.
All the Italian directors, etc.
So what did you make of, on that subject? He says, you know, Pasolini, you'll be so-and-so, you'll never be.
Yeah, he obviously, they were directors. It meant a lot to him. They were all very, both Pasolini and Visconti were openly gay and had very odd lives. Pasolini was eventually killed by a rent boy, run over several times and that. So they had very odd backgrounds and odd lives. And the films that they released were banned in many cases. They were always, you know, subject of lots of problems. And Anna Magnani, who he also mentioned, she was in a film of each of them. She's been in films which both of them directed.
Okay.
And she was a brilliant actress, and I've seen her because that was the era, I think. I think they died in the 70s. So, yeah, it was the era when there were these I can't remember which one. I think it was Visconti. His film was actually about a family from the south emigrating to Milan, and there was a violent rape scene, etc. And it was actually banned in Milan for a long time. So they were very controversial.
So this would appeal to Morrissey, the sort of underdogs
so.
that are banned, censored.
Yeah, and he said that film was brilliant. It was a film that he really enjoyed.
Yes.
And also Pasolini he was one of these people. He was a real intellectual. He was a painter. He was an author. He was a poet, political activist, everything. So again, that would have appealed to Morris's, intellectual sort of ability.
So he is also in this song having something of an existential crisis, isn't he? He says, "Piazza Cavour, what the hell is my life for?
Yeah.
Who am I that I come to be standing here?" Which is something we can all relate to, isn't it? We all have times in our lives and we think, well, what's the point of all this? Did you find that appealing, those parts of the song?
Yeah, but what I found even more interesting, the words, the original lyrics, he changes on almost every stage performance. He says, instead of Pasolini, he may say Visconti.
In one of them, he says, "And Sexton, you will always be." So he does replace the words sometimes. And I think one time he uses like a type of pasta or sort of food.
He says all sorts.
Yeah, which is
Fellini instead of those. Yeah. And he implied to because Tony Visconti was the producer of this, wasn't he? His own person, and he implied that he would be immortalised because he'd used his name. And he sometimes even says that on stage. He says, "Tony Visconti, you will never be," etc. So I think it's because if it was a very intimate thing from originally, I think since then he plays with it. He says lots of things to distract from his original meaning. And he inserts all these silly things. He'll put Diana Dors in instead of Anna Magnani and all sorts of things,
And so what do you make of, how do you rationalise what he's saying when he says, "As I live and breathe, you have killed me"? What's he saying? That's obviously a poetic way of expressing an emotion. So what is the emotion that he's getting at there, do you think?
Well, again, there's lots of sexual connotations. Dying of death.
Petit mort.
Le petit mort, yeah, the orgasm, whatever, So I think it's all in reference to that. And the key opening, because in some he actually alters those words as well and says, "I've entered no one and no one has entered me." It actually says those sort of words. So I think it's pretty defined what he's saying.
Well, yeah, okay. I mean, I always thought that he was saying, you came along, we had a great time, we broke up and that killed me, but I'm still alive, but emotionally it killed me. That's kind of what I thought. What about you, Chris?
Yeah, I can see that. I think a lot of the existential questions and the big questions in the song, I think if you've been to Rome, it's quite an amazing place. So I think it does a lot of history there.
Oh yeah.
So it would make you think those wider questions, I think.
Yeah.
So do you want to give this song a bit of a score?
I'm always reluctant to do this because I have to try and remember all the others. But no, it was.
Oh,
falling away today.
Yeah, no, it was.
So we got the board again. So obviously last time we put in, we did "I Know It's Over."
Yes.
So for this song, what would you put for the lyrics?
The lyrics, obviously, I was very interested in, regardless of my interpretation or not.
You've got lots of notes there. So.
Yeah, that's about all the different directors, etc. And I was remembering them as I was putting their names. I thought, oh, I can remember this and I remember that. So, because I've been here a long time, remember, on this earth.
Well, I wouldn't say.
So what would you give it for lyrics?
9.
9. Okay. And for music?
I like the music. Yeah, no, I think this was another one. 8, was I?
8. Okay, 8. And then finally for voice.
Yeah, no, I liked his voice.
I think this is really strong, the voice in this
really
one.
liked
Yeah,
it. It's a 10 for the voice.
10. Okay,
It's a good one.
9, 8, 10.
We'll add that to the board.
Okay, yeah, we can't do it right now because we've had some Blue Peter style technical problems.
Yeah, we'll show you that next time. We'll add it to the league board of Morrissey songs.
So for now, Nan, we'll say thank you for joining us once again on Morrissey and Wine, and we'll see you soon. Shall we have a cheers?
Yeah, let's have a cheers.
Cheers, Nan.
Cheers, my loves.
Cheers.
Cheers, Chris. Cheers to you at home.
I was born in a fjord, and I cursed the heart and soul of Scandinavia. Let the people burn, let their children cry and die in blind asylums. But then you came along, and you held out your hand, and I fell in love with you and Scandinavia.
So we're now going to analyse the lyrics of Scandinavia. So it's from World Peace, album 2014, which to me is a special album. I think I've said this before, but because it's the album when I really got into Morrissey. Before then I was at college and I was listening to the Smiths, but that's when that was the current album that was out when I was getting into Morrissey. And I also really like that song. I like probably all the songs on that album. And when he played it in Manchester, interestingly, I was...
You mean this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he played in Manchester this year. It was quite cool because I was sandwiched between two Swedes.
Were you?
Yeah,
Sweet
not
sandwich.
the vegetable,
Yeah.
the people. Carolina and Andreas, both Swedish, which was quite cool. And I also am 3% Swedish.
Are you?
Yeah.
97% knobhead.
Yeah, well.
Well, is this the same album with Staircase at the University?
It is.
Yeah, because I remember because obviously we were friends then when we sort of made friends through Morrissey, didn't we? And when we went to see him in Barcelona, he played Staircase at the University.
Yes, yeah.
And every time I listen to that song, it just takes me back to that hot Barcelona club and the lovely Razzmatazz and the time that we had. Now, I think Scandinavia is an interesting song because I don't really know what he's on about. Like he's saying he loves. Well, he starts off by hating Scandinavia, then he falls in love with someone, presumably from Scandinavia, and all of a sudden he loves the country. That's kind of what's happening, right?
Yeah. So it is a bit of a weird one because I ask people, especially people from that part of the world, and it is quite confusing, but it's got some quite powerful lines in it though.
What lines stick out for you?
Can you just get the lyrics up?
Yeah, sure. Keep talking then.
Okay, so you're going to get the lyrics up and then we're going to talk about the lyrics. So yeah, I mean, one that I really, the one really interesting lyric is where he says, "I eat the soil."
Yes.
That stands out, doesn't it, in the song? Because a lot of the lyrics are, "I fell in love with you and Scandinavia," which are, really powerful lines, but I eat the soil.
He says, I kiss the soil, I hug the soil, I eat the soil. Although
Yes.
recently in live versions, he said, I would eat the soil.
I would eat the soil, yeah.
Making it more of a metaphor, I suppose. I think, so Morrissey does talk about shores and beaches and land and sand, doesn't he? I have seen many shores from another song.
Yeah.
There's the one about the river do you know the one I mean? Look in the river and you will see.
Drag the river.
Drag the river, yeah. Geographical kind of land masses and things. And here he's taking a very direct approach to that and saying, I would literally eat the soil because I love this land so much.
Yeah, and Morrissey has got a big following in Sweden and Scandinavia. From what I understand, in Stockholm, they have they do a birthday party for Morrissey every year.
Right. I don't think Sweden is in Scandinavia though.
No, it is.
Okay.
Do you know what Scandinavia is, George?
Not really.
So it's just Denmark, Sweden, and Norway.
Oh, I know what I'm thinking of. Switzerland isn't in Scandinavia.
No, that's landlocked in the middle of Europe.
I honestly, I'm so bad at. I don't think I listened to any geography lessons at school.
And the difference between that and the Nordic countries is that you add Iceland and Finland to make it Nordic.
Right.
Yeah, but Scandinavia is also Nordic. Yeah.
So he also has this line, "Stab me in your own time" in Scandinavia. So let's pick that apart. So he's saying, you can stab me and I'll still be happy, essentially. He's saying, do it in your own time. He's saying, at any point you want to stab me, feel free, because I'm in Scandinavia and unprotesting, I'll die.
Yeah, which I think that unprotesting, I'll die in Scandinavia. Is that saying that you're so content here and happy here that would be okay to die here?
Yes, and I think it links to...
It's not like dying in Aldi in the middle of
Oh, I wouldn't mind dying in the middle aisle of Aldi.
or the middle of Lidl.
All those bargains.
The middle of Lidl.
Yeah. What I was going to say was, I think it links to "There is a light that never goes out." This idea that to die in a time or a place where you're happy is not only the best kind of death, it's a death that you might actually aspire towards and want to have. So he's saying in this, yes, I started off by hating Scandinavia. Now I'm so in love with it, I would quite like to die here. So you can kill me at any time.
Yeah.
And then he has some more literary kind of sprinklings, doesn't he? He says, "Pinned to a crime in Trondheim," things like that. So I think that always makes you think of like Nordic noir. Now I know you've told me now that Scandinavia and the Nordic places are different.
Well, it's the same.
Oh, is it?
There's a small difference, but
Okay.
But if you're from Scandinavia, you're also from the Nordic countries.
So yes, "Pinned to a crime in Trondheim," Nordic noir. That's what I'm thinking. It's like those murder programs, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what do you think about "Let the people burn, let their children cry and die in blind asylums"?
Yeah, that's an interesting one because it almost goes back to when he's talking about people from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, like sort of is quite, but sort of as if he didn't like that place. But then he's saying he does like this place. So yeah, it's quite strange. Because then I feel like he's talking about Scandinavia like it is, because obviously often that part of the world is seen as sort of the beacon of civilization in some ways, like the long life expectancy, clean air, healthy food, positive sort of maybe that's part of what he appeals to Morrissey. I don't know do you know if Morrissey spent much time there apart from touring there?
I don't think so. And this is why I found out that Switzerland isn't in Scandinavia, and there'll be people at home laughing that I'm so thick. But because I know Morrissey probably has a property in Switzerland, so I was trying to make a link with this song. Is this why he's... Then I realized it's not the same place, and I know that's so silly. But
Switzerland's more like Dignitas and chocolate and
okay, Lindt chocolate. Is that from Switzerland?
I don't know.
But I think what Morrissey's doing with the "Let the people burn" line, he's amping up how he felt before about Scandinavia to the nth degree, so that he can then go the other way with the song and say how much he loves it. What is a blind asylum? Because I don't think there's ever been asylums for blind people. But
I imagine there probably was.
Why would you put a blind person in an asylum? Because they can still function in many ways, like an able-sided person.
Yeah.
I understand in the past, if someone was really mentally ill, or even a little bit mentally ill, they would put them in an asylum because they didn't know how to cope.
Workhouse.
Yeah. But a blind person, I think, not that I know a great deal, hardly anything at all about the history of blindness, but I don't think they went to asylums.
Well, it's interesting. Well, I live in front of me. There's a house for deaf people, which is so the deaf. They wouldn't call it asylum anymore, but it's a home for people who have hearing impediments or can't hear. But then also Morrissey does sing about being blind in another song where he says, "You've never been in love unless you've seen the sunset behind the home for the blind."
Yeah, sunrise.
Sunrise, sorry.
Yeah.
So maybe that's some sort of, there must be a reason why he's used that same niche thing twice.
Yes, I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say Morrissey is probably quite preoccupied with the idea of houses for the deaf, houses for the blind, asylums. He's always had this connection with disability, hasn't he, with his hearing aids and national health specs.
And oh hug me.
Yeah.
The hostage to kindness and the wheels underneath her.
Yes, yeah, November Spawn.
And then in World Peace, he comes out in a wheelchair being wheeled by David Hoyle, isn't it? I think.
Yes, maybe he wonders, if I were born 100 years ago, would have I ended up in an asylum? Not quite sure what a blind asylum is. Perhaps we can look that up, and maybe they did exist. I think it's just a bit of poetic license to make a nice sounding line. But obviously he ends with, "But then you came along and you held out your hand, and I fell in love with you in Scandinavia."
Yeah.
Again, this is a genderless song. We don't know whether he's singing to a man or woman, do we? We have no idea. but it would appear to be a romantic love.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And there's another line that I wanted to talk about. It's I despise each syllable in Scandinavia.
I think that's really funny.
Yeah, I do as well. Because have you seen, in Blackadder, where in one of the scenes he says a silly bull, like because he doesn't know what the word is. I think silly. I always think of that when I think of the word syllable.
Yeah.
Silly bull.
He also brings in gods. Now Morrissey likes to refer to gods, not God. Even though I believe he's Catholic, he seems to have this belief. I think you would call it what's the opposite to monotheistic? Can't remember, but he believes in plural gods.
Pluralistic.
Yeah, doesn't he?
Yeah,
So he says,
yeah.
"I praise the God who
Yeah,
made you,
yeah.
who made you." And in other songs, he talks about gods. But then of course he has other songs like "I Have Forgiven Jesus," which is all about Jesus and God, the Christian one, monotheistic God. But I quite like that because I think Morrissey's quite well travelled. He's seen a lot of different cultures.
Yeah.
He understands that the world has lots of different religions, and that must have informed his view on the fact that there are several gods. Of course, there are several gods.
Yeah,
many
yeah.
gods throughout history. I mean, I recently watched The Heretic. Did I tell you I watched it on my own?
Oh, really? You're quite brave because George is really what's a nice word other than pussy? But you are a bit of a
Scaredy cat.
Scaredy cat, yeah.
Yeah.
You are a bit of a scaredy cat. So I'm surprised you watched that. But it's a good film. The first half's good. The second half gets a bit classic horror.
Yeah.
But the first half feels quite clever.
In The Heretic, it's played by Hugh Grant, and he invites these kind of Mormon missionary girls to come to his house, and he traps them, and he gives them this sort of monologue on religion.
Almost like a lesson, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
He's trying to give a lesson, yeah.
And he points out that the Jesus character that we know is repeated in dozens of other gods previous and religious figures previous to Christianity. And this is a fair point. And I think it's okay. I'm Christian, that's my religion, but I understand that probably it's quite sensible to accept that there's lots of gods. And I think Morrissey's quite a sensible thinker.
You C of E?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'm not part of a particular church.
No, you don't like organised.
No.
You like disorganised chaos religion.
That's when it gets a bit ropey. No, I just think if you grow up in this country, as I have done in the UK, you are basically a Christian. Your ethical system is Christian.
Yeah.
Everything, your goals and ambitions tend to be wrapped up in Christianity. When you think about the afterlife, you think it's a Christian heaven. I just think at the end of the day, you might as well just accept it.
Yeah. But I think it's okay because it's like with Jewish people, for example, they're always Jewish, even if they don't, if they're not practicing that. That's their sort of heritage. So what would you? So did you like this song, George?
Well, when you suggested that you wanted to
You
do
didn't
this,
seem keen.
No, it's not one of my favorite songs. But the more we talk about it, the more we've talked about it, and the more we've analysed it, I think it's quite clever. I think it's a clever idea for a song.
I think it is hard to interpret, and obviously we are talking about our own opinions of the song. But I think the song itself is an anthem. Like, it's great. It's a really good song to listen to. So that's why I'm really into it. So where are we now?
Sorry, I always sort of trust Chris. I think I'll just move away from the mic and do something. Chris will carry on talking. He just goes,
Yes. Okay. So how's the wine?
The wine, honestly, this is really good.
I think this is great as well.
And let me just remind myself what the tasting notes. They said passion fruit, gooseberry, and citrus. I can taste the passion fruit and the citrus for sure.
Did mine say black currants?
It said, cherry, raspberry, and red currant.
Red currant. Okay. Well, I can taste that.
If you could get your hands on this wine, I would recommend it. We'll put the name of the wine in the podcast description. It's pretty good. So, we're going to go into If You Love Morrissey, Then You Love This.
Yes.
I'm just going to take a brief moment to let you know about our Patreon. This is £4.50 a month or $5 if you're in the US. It doesn't matter where in the world you are, it will convert into your currency. You get 5 benefits from subscribing to the Patreon. So you get Chris and George off mic.
Ooh.
So that's a bonus episode every month where me and Chris talk about some different subjects in detail, sort of a bit more like honestly what we really think about stuff, because we know we have a small Patreon audience that's listening to it. I mean, last time we did Desert Island Discs, didn't we?
Yeah.
So we talked through the discs that we would take to Desert Island, and that went down pretty well. You can get full unedited interviews with our guests. So this month we're going to be doing a 20-minute version of the interview with Mark Nevin, but the full interview will be available on Patreon. You can join the exclusive members only WhatsApp chat. There's about 100 fans in there, people who follow the podcast and of course follow Morrissey and the Smiths. If you join the Patreon, you can join that chat.
And that's really good. That's been really good during the tour as well, because people have been communicating on there. So
For example, Morrissey was playing Berlin shortly before we recorded this podcast, and people were organising in there where to meet up and where was the best place. And it's good because usually there'll be someone in the chat who lives in the place where the gig is happening.
absolutely, yeah.
So
yeah.
they'll say this bar's good or whatever. A couple more benefits. You get regular deliveries of Morrissey and Smith's badges. So about every year, every 6 months, Chris gets his badge maker out.
It's not a badge, it's a professional badge maker.
It's a professional badge maker. Anyway,
No, it is. It's good quality.
they are good badges actually, and
It's all good stuff.
it's all good stuff there. And finally, you can choose the next song that Nanny Val reacts to. So on Patreon, we say, right, we're recording next week. Suggest a song for Nanny Val. Then I make a playlist for Nanny Val, for my nan, and and she listens to all of the songs that the Patreon members have suggested, and then she picks the one she's going to talk about. So check out the description of this podcast for a link to Patreon, or just type into Google Morrissey and Wine Patreon, and you can find us on there. And it's a big help to us. It just pays for the bits and bobs that we need, and it's a great way to support us if you love what we do. But if you don't subscribe, you still get the podcast, and it's just extra stuff. For you.
Yeah, you still have the free bits. But yeah, well done, George. That's a good bit of marketing. I know you don't like doing that too much.
Thank you. So next we're going to go into If You Love Morrissey, Then You'll Love This.
Yes.
So I'll say cheers to you.
Cheers, George.
Cheers to you at home. Let's go. Have a little bit more.
It's a really good one.
So now we have got If You Love Morrissey, Then You'll Love This. I think all of my favourite podcasts have recommendation sections.
Okay.
And that's why I wanted to bring this in. So the idea is like, it's not directly linked to Morrissey. It's not necessarily something that Morrissey himself likes, but through that Venn diagram of our interests, if you like Morrissey and the Smiths,
In the middle.
yeah, then these other things might come in. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Okay, so my recommendation this month is a cookbook, actually, or I suppose a influencer who cooks. I could say that. So the book is Soph's Plant Kitchen.
SOPH.
Yeah, Soph, as in Sophie. So
Yeah.
Soph's Plant Kitchen.
Yeah.
I first I really enjoy cooking at home. I think it's just quite therapeutic because you just relax. Almost the opposite of Morrissey, who just does toast, apparently. Because there was the importance of being Morrissey where you go round and you just get a slice of toast.
Yes.
So not quite like Morrissey, but she's vegan, so that's where the link comes in a little bit. And she also does food that's quite well rounded as well. Because I think that's really important as a vegan or as somebody who doesn't eat meat, to make sure you get like protein and the right sorts of foods as well.
So does she have a cookbook?
Yeah, she has, which I bought recently. It's you can buy it from I guess from her Instagram, which is I think Soph's Plant Kitchen.
And that's what the book is called.
Yeah,
as well.
it is. Yeah, and it's honestly, I've got loads. My shelf's almost falling down because the amount of vegan cookbooks I've got. But this one is really good, and it tells you how much protein's in the meal, so you know you're getting the protein as well.
Yes.
So I think that's really important because a lot of vegan food can be junk food or food that's just accidentally vegan.
Yes.
But this is, she puts a lot of thought into it. So I think it's a really good cookbook. And I actually made some cake, which you've not tried yet. Gary tried it. I don't know. Gary wants to say, was it okay, the cake? Well, yeah, fantastic. He said fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah.
and he's just collapsed.
Oh, yeah.
And so is there a standout recipe from this influencer cook that you really like?
Yeah, so there's quite a few recipes in there that I've done. All of them have been good. A good Caesar salad, actually, which I've never had as a vegan before.
Love a Caesar salad.
But my favourite one actually was, which we discussed earlier, paella.
Yes.
And it's really, really, I love paella. I think anyone who's grown up is sort of in being British, being sort of working class sort of or upper working class, middle class in Britain, you've always Spain is the way where you go on holiday. So I know as a kid going to Spain, and paella was just obviously is their national dish.
Yes.
So yeah.
Speaking of holidays, we have that theory, don't we? That the more middle class you are, the more horrible your holiday has to be.
More painful it has
More
to
painful.
be. Yeah.
Like you have to go hiking or skiing.
Yeah,
or-
like no real working class person goes camping. No one in my family's ever been camping, really.
It's like the posher you are, the more horrible your holiday has to be.
Yeah.
Unless you're an aristocrat, and then I think you just summer in the south of France, don't you, and
Sounds
lounge around.
nice,
So
yeah.
working class and upper class people know how to do a holiday. Middle class people just punish themselves on holiday.
Yeah, they have to get all the gear for
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
And they have to get like those bodyboard things and do all horrible things like that.
Well, I would love to try this paella that you say is good, because I absolutely love paella. So is it a vegetable paella? I
Yeah,
presume?
but it has what's called tempeh in it.
What's that?
So tempeh is basically tofu, but the beans are less, I don't know, there's less processed or sort of not as, they're more whole beans. I think it's a soybean product, but it's really high in protein and really good. And yeah, so it's also got some asparagus, I think, some broccoli, petit pois.
Petit pois. Mange tu, mange tu.
Mange tu. Petit pois, which is obviously much superior to peas.
Okay, so that's Soph's Plant Kitchen.
Yeah, which I think is a great book.
Yeah.
And I made loads of recipes in there now, and they've all been really good.
Okay, brilliant.
So what's your recommendation?
Well, sorry, I'm scratching my ear on camera.
Nice.
My recommendation is an album. And the reason why I'm suggesting this album is because the lyrics are so good. And I think if you love Morrissey and the Smiths, one of the main reasons is going to be because of the lyrics.
Yeah.
Also, this album is a bit of an underdog in the sense that when it came out, most people thought it was shit. And I think it's slowly people are coming to realize it was actually a very good album. So it's Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino by the Arctic Monkeys. As much as Alex Turner, the frontman, is now becoming very much dad rock and a bit of a joke, in the eyes of the commentary.
You tried to cancel him. Oh no, that was
No.
somebody else.
He's been impervious from cancellation actually, but
Impervious to heat.
yeah, no. So Alex Turner there's no denying that he's a fantastic lyricist, and we saw that with the first debut album of the Arctic Monkeys. Whatever people say, that's what I'm not. Now this Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino. Have you listened to it, by the way?
I think I know some songs, some tracks.
Yeah.
From it. Yeah.
So it's a concept album, which is kind of rare these days for a mainstream band to put out. The idea is that the main character, who I guess we could just say is Alex Turner, is living on a casino on the moon, a casino hotel on the moon.
Is it?
And
Is it Trump? Is it Trump?
well, I
venture?
don't know, but the place is called Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino. That's where it is. And
Okay.
I think Tranquility has some link to lunar history or something. But there's also a lot of elements of AI and AI and virtual reality. So he's on this hotel base and he can put on his reality headset and go anywhere he wants and be anything he wants. And he also has, in the album, he talks about his weekly video chat with God. So there's an AI God that people can talk to whenever they want to speak
Oh really?
to God.
Okay.
Yeah. And, there's another, I think the song is called 4 out of 5, and it's all about building a taco restaurant on a rooftop that gets 4 stars out of 5 that is unheard of on the moon, And it really so fantastically paints this world. And I love a dystopia. It very much is a dystopia. The character isn't happy. No one's happy in this advanced futuristic technological time. But the lyrics are fantastic. It's almost, I hasten to say it because George Orwell is obviously such a fantastic
I was
writer.
just, when you were saying about that, it did remind me of George Orwell. Sort of the
Yes.
sort of FaceTiming the God is a bit George Orwell, isn't
Yes.
it?
It is very much that. And I think, in my opinion, and I'm putting my neck on the line a bit, I think it's in the same league. It's just a different method. It's a different mode. Also, one reason why I really love this album is because he talks about something called the information action ratio, which is from a book called Amusing Ourselves to Death from the 80s, which is all about how people were getting addicted to television and watching all this global news and stuff. And the information action ratio is how much information do you have? A lot. How much action can you take? Very little. So the ratio is off. And I read this book at university, and then years later I hear this album and he's talking about the same thing. A very obscure book,
It almost sounds, you've spoken about this before with me, where you you shouldn't sometimes take on too many of the world problems, because what can you really do about them? So is that what you're getting at there?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And now that can go too far, and you can be selfish, and put your head in the sand. But at the same time, you know, how much am I supposed to care about the Kardashians? How much am I supposed to care about the latest cancellation? You know, and how much am I supposed to care? Well, that's a difficult thing to say, but how much am I supposed to care about every conflict in the world and every now? That's when it starts to become selfish, because you say, well, I'm very happy to live in the UK where everything's fine. Well, one day that's going to come knocking at your door.
Yeah. Well, interestingly, you say that because in the other podcast you recommended to me recently, the
War game.
War Game, in that they actually mention that we almost become sort of like soft in the UK, where we don't need to worry about those things, and we think, well, we'll just spend all our money on health and education, which obviously, you know, in an ideal world you would do, but almost like, because we've done that, we're not ready for those things, because we don't really think it's ever going to happen, because the stars and stripes will come and save us.
Yeah. And will they? Well,
I think they will.
There is an interesting idea here in the future that something like the War Game podcast projects, which is a war attack on Great Britain. There's Alex Turner's idea of the future, which is this horrible dystopian technological world where nothing's real. It feels like in every direction that we look, the future looks terrible. Doesn't really matter which option you choose; they're all bad. And I think that's why I love this album, because it says, okay, well, it might be scary, but look, this is what it would sound like, this is what it would look like, and this is how people would be.
Yeah.
And like I say, I think it's a very Morrissey thing to have an underdog album that everyone thought was crap, like Kill Uncle.
Yeah, which is very relevant to this episode. Yeah.
And now I say everyone thought Kill Uncle was crap. That's not true. And in fact, in our interview with Mark Nevin, which is coming up, he points out that I think it was a Melody Maker was very enthusiastic and said, this makes a Smiths reunion irrelevant. But you know, the enemy was not so kind. And I think I just think if you haven't listened to the Arctic Monkeys since I Bet She Looks Good on the Dance Floor, I think you would benefit from looking up this album, Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino, and listen to it from start to finish and immerse yourself in this world, and then ask yourself some questions about what do you want the future to look like.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely going to listen to it now. I sometimes like to group things in my head, and I think that you talk about sort of this hotel on the moon. It's almost a bit like, you know, in the Lou Reed song, Satellite of Love, where he says, straight up to Mars, soon it will be filled with parking cars.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that, where as soon as humans can get somewhere, they're going to turn into a car park and a gift shop, and a hot dog stand or something.
Yeah. So we have Chris's recommendation, Soph's Plant Kitchen.
Which, cookbook, and she's got, I mean, you can probably get most of the recipes on the Instagram, but the book is really good.
Yeah, I'm going to follow her. I am. And mine is Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino by the Arctic Monkeys. Both pretty accessible things. You can stream them or find them on Instagram.
Yep.
So what have we got next? Well,
next we have the big one. So it's the interview with Mark Nevin.
Yes. As we said before, Mark Nevin was Morrissey's main co-writer between 1990 and 1992. Wrote the vast majority. I think the wine is getting to me.
Is it? The Wast.
He wrote the vast majority of Kill Uncle, and replaced Stephen Street when Stephen Street left.
Yeah, who we've also spoken to, and I think also with Mark Nevin. I'm really excited to hear this because recently I've been because George often changes the motion and changes the how we're doing things halfway through, like in the live episode. You embarrassed me. And we were meant to think of a song that we've been listening to a lot recently, and mine was related to Mark Nevin because it was Born to Hang, which was unreleased. Born to Hang.
Yes.
It's on YouTube, but obviously unreleased. So yeah, and I love that Morrissey song.
Born to Hang. So Mark wrote
yes,
that, did he?
Yeah, it was
Didn't
one of
know
his
that.
songs, yeah.
So yeah, Mark in this interview is really open with us and really, I really quite analytical about his time with Morrissey, and he talks about some things that he wishes he'd have done differently, things that he was happy with, and crucially, what it was like making an album with Morrissey. I think at one point here it describes it as a whirlpool of trauma. Everyone was traumatized, which from which great art rises.
Yeah.
So should we go into that now?
Let's.
And just to remind you before we cheers, the full interview will be available to Patreon members, and if you're interested in signing up, check out the description of the podcast. Let's say cheers. Ooh.
Cheers.
And cheers to you at home, and cheers to Mark Nevin, who we're about to talk to. Brr. Mark Nevin, thank you for joining us on the Morrissey and Wine podcast.
It's a pleasure, George.
You were Morrissey's guitarist and co-writer between 90 and 92. When I was thinking about questions to ask you, the first one that came to mind was, obviously Morrissey had just departed the Smiths. He'd launched his solo career under the sort of tutelage of Stephen Street, and his identity had sort of, as a solo artist, had been kind of set. So I wondered, when you came to the table, did you feel that you were working with a mold of what Morrissey's solo looked like, or was there room for experimentation?
That's a very good question, because it's a question that I asked myself at the time, because I remember, you know, the day that I got this call, I was in the studio with Kirsty McCall. We were at Townhouse Studios recording a song, Walking Down Madison, and the phone call came from my publisher saying, you know, that Morrissey's manager had been in touch and he thinks that you wanted me to get in touch with me about working with Morris. I thought, oh, amazing, brilliant. And anyway, you know, I sort of assumed that there'd be a conversation, that we'd have meet up and we'd have a chat about what sort of ideas, you know, but that to deal with the question that you were raising here. And I mean, there was nothing like that at all. He just said, oh, he just got Andrew Parisi to call me, and Andrew said, oh, send him some music. And it's like, well, it was so vague. It's some music, you know, it was sort of like an old Mantovani album or something, you know. It was just no idea. And so I was sort of second guessing about, well, what does he want? Does he know what he wants, or does he expect me to have a sort of angle? So I was kind of sort of half, you know, I had just broken up with my band, Fairground Attraction, and that was like, you know, he was sort of, it's very traumatic breaking up from a band. It's like a divorce or something. So you're in a very sort of vulnerable place, and you're not sure, you know, what sort of future you've got, if you've got any of it. That was it. Is that my 15 minutes over? And, you know, it's all that sort of stuff. There was loads going on for me at the time. So I didn't know I thought, why does he want to work with me? I would like to have asked him that question, why me, at the time. You know, there was all sorts of speculation. You know, it was going to be Carlos Alomar, it was going to be Tom Verlaine, all these people that were sort of put up who were going to be the co-writer. And so it was like, you know, I was very flattered to be the person that he sort of went to, but I also was very curious as to why. What was it about me that made him come to me? And I, so I thought, well, you know, I'd done stuff with Sandy Shaw, so he probably was aware of what I'd done with Sandy. And I know there's a Fairground thing was at the time was, you know, it was really sort of high profile stuff. But was it that? Was it a bit of both? Does he want to carry on doing kind of Johnny Marr-ish, Stephen Street-ish things, or does he want to do something different? So when I was sort of created music to send to him, I had all these questions going around my head. And so you'd get something like that, like our Frank, for instance, which certainly in the original demo form was much more Smithsy, like that sort of track guitar, sort of jangly guitar thing. But then I would do things like the music for Asian Ruck, which was originally called Idiot's Funeral. I called it Idiot's Funeral. I sent it to him, and it was very much like a sort of a Tom Waitsy kind of Kurt Weill kind of sort of cabaret type sort of music, much more along the sort of Fairground Attraction sort of thing. So I was sort of going between these sort of various styles, sort of experimenting with, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? But not by directly asking him, just by sending it to him. And he was so shy, he would just, you know, and so sort of private, he would just send postcards. The first one came back, it just said perfect. That's all it said. So I thought, well, that's definitely good. And the postcards became letters and became more detailed. And so there was this collaboration going on, but it was very much a kind of very vague in its sort of direction. And you know, looking back, I wish I had, you know, if I had more, in hindsight, I would have gone, well, hold on, what are we doing here exactly? Because, you know, I'm a bit sort of shooting in the dark. It'd be good to have a conversation, but he was so sort of insular and private, and I didn't have a conversation with him until just before we went in the studio. And a friend of mine died very suddenly. We had the wake at my house, and there was this wake going on, loads of drinking going on, and somebody says, "Oh, Mark, someone's on the phone for you. I think it's Morrissey." And so in the middle of this wake with loads of noise, Morrissey was trying to have a conversation with me, and there was so much noise in the house. And this was before mobile phones, so I couldn't take the phone out. But I remember sort of going under the bed and lying on the floor under the bed, having this conversation with him, and all this noise going on, and it was just so mad. But at that point, it was already sort of what we'd Kill Uncle album had already been written through this correspondence style. So it was kind of, we were already going to make that record when we got in there. And then when we got in there, sort of Clive Langer and Alan Stanley had their own thing, and Clive took a lot of the guitars out and replaced it with piano, which to me was like, oh no, that's not meant to be like that. But, he had his sort of clanger, madness kind of style, and that gave it a different energy again,
And so of those, so how many recordings did you send when it was first pitched that you might work with him? And how many of those did end up actually being used?
Well, most of them most of what I sent got used and became Kill Uncle. And we just carried on, even after we'd done that. Because then we went to the Camden Workers Social Club, and he said, go into the rockabilly thing. He said, let's do a rockabilly EP. There's no, let's like an album. So suddenly I started doing these things that were like Pregnant for the Last Time and The Loop and those sort of rockabilly things. And we carried on, but then it was, let's do another album. And that he was, a working title of Kill Auntie. Obviously that was never going to be the actual title, but we were referring to it as Kill Auntie. And so I sent him lots of stuff for that, which he loved. And we were, as far as I knew, when we went into the studio with Mick Ronson, it was going to be this album. But then he ditched a lot of these songs because he'd got to know Boz and Alan, because he'd been on tour by then. And he kind of brought in the Boz and Alan songs. And so a lot of these songs that would have been on Kill Auntie, some of them became Kirsty MacColl songs. And I gave quite a few of them to Terry Hall, actually. I met with Terry Hall and he wanted to do so I gave him some of this stuff, but they never came to anything with him.
So for a period of a year or so, you were Morrissey's co-writer, main number one co-writer, and it sounds like a part of that relationship was about a sense of humor, understanding that there can be humor in lyrics and bringing that out. But I wonder if that was quite daunting for you. You sort of suddenly realized one day, oh, I'm Morrissey's sole co-writer, main co-writer. And did you feel a sense of responsibility? Was it daunting, or was it just all good fun?
Well, you've got to put it into context of, like, as I say, of what was happening for me, and that 3 or 4 years before that, I was utterly broke, living in a squat. And then I had my first song I ever got released was Perfect, and it went to #1 all over the world. And we won the Brit Awards, Best Single and Best Album. First band ever to do both album and single. Only Coldplay, Blur, and Adele have done it since. It was like going 0 to 100 miles an hour, very, very quick. And then poof, it exploded. And I was like, ah. And then next thing, Morrissey's in touch, and I'm this guy. Oh, well, never saw this come in. So it was so surreal. And it was very odd. And I wished now that I was in a better, well, we were both not in a good state personally. And I haven't seen Morrissey for years, and I would love to see him now as a human being. I'd love to just go for a cup of tea and have a chat with him, because I could never really do that then, because it was all like this whirlpool of trauma. And he used to come to my house, so I used to, someone's at the door. I opened the door and Morrissey would be standing there, oh, hello. And these days people don't really turn up at people's houses like they used to. And it's, oh, come in, and I'd sit there, and he would be very shy and he wouldn't say anything. And so when somebody doesn't say anything, you end up talking a load of rubbish. Do you know what I mean? And so I'm there because I'm just sort of filling up this awkward space. And it was very strange. And I think he really wanted to be friends in a way that I couldn't really be to him at that time. I always think that song, You're Going to Need Someone on Your Side, was kind of directed to me. when he says, you got the weight of the world's on your shoulder. Well, you're going to need someone on your side. Well, here I am. You don't have to look so pleased. I think that's, I don't know, it might be wrong. Maybe it's egotistical to suggest it was, but I always felt that it was sort of having giving a message to me, because I couldn't be the friend that he was looking for at that time.
And so when you think back to this Morrissey, who was shy, wanted friends, was interesting and nice, and then you see the picture of Morrissey that's in the press where he's semi-cancelled, kind of derided generally by the media. Do you see a mismatch between those two things?
I just think, to quote Morrissey, the world is full of crushing bores, and I don't give a toss what these idiots say about him, really. They're just so self-righteous, virtue signaling, crushing bores. It's going to take care of your own business before you just, they just want to bring people down, and people at the bottom want to bring people at the top down because they're envious, and they, and it's very typical of negative things about the way that British people can be sometimes, is to build somebody up just so they can knock them down. And they made him into a sort of almost godlike figure, and then they sort of did the hatchet job on him. Well, screw them all, that's what I say.
And so if we think back to Kill Uncle, where you wrote the vast majority of the tracks, it was at the time not really very well received in the music press. You won't find many fans these days saying that Kill Uncle is a bad album. A lot of people really like it. But I wonder, do you think this was an unfair treatment at the time? And where did it come from if it was an unfair treatment?
Well, it was mixed, actually. I always remember the NME I think it was terrible, and the Melody Maker was absolutely brilliant. I think it was David Contact. I can't remember who it was. Said something like, "This makes a Smith reunion irrelevant," which I always remember is the most highest praise you could have given it at the time. But I think it was, I think if he'd have done something with Tom Verlaine or somebody like that who was hip, it would have got better, just because of all the kudos that someone like that would have brought to it. I think that bloke Unfair Attraction, It's Got to Be Perfect wasn't cool. We weren't a cool band, and but anyway, it's more like true to Morrissey's spirit, the way he liked Sandy Shaw, and opposed to Dusty Springfield. He was always loved pop music. And you just can't waste your life worrying about what people think about what you do. You've just got to make the music that's right for you at the time, and take it on a chin if they don't like it, and take it with a pinch of salt if they do.
So we had Your Arsenal come after that, as you said, codenamed Kill Auntie. You wrote a lot of tracks for that album, and then I believe it turned out that Alan White had come in and actually he'd replaced a lot of the tracks. What was your vision for that album? Would it have been quite different to what we actually ended up getting with Your Arsenal?
No, it was very similar in the sense that, because Morrissey called me and said, "Who do you think we should get to produce the next record?" And I said, "Well, what about Mick Ronson?" Because Mick Ronson was on my absolute guitar hero growing up. I saw David Bowie when I was 13 at the Colston Hall. I sat on the stage in the choir stalls. I was like 4 foot away from Mick Ronson playing a solo on Moon Age Daydream. It blew my mind, And I said, "What about Mick Ronson?" He said, "What a great idea. Can you get hold of him?" And so I thought, well, I didn't really know how to go about that, but I did manage to get hold of him, and we had this meeting in my front room. It was very funny, with the two of them, Morrissey and Mick Ronson, sitting opposite each other on his sofas. It was like a really strange situation. And because I wanted it to be much more guitar based, because Clive's a great producer and everything, but I felt that all the piano stuff and everything was kind of at odds with the way I'd seen it. So I was keen for him to bring a producer in that was going to be heavy on the guitars. And so, Mick just did it. We got Mick to do it. And then Boz came around one day. He said, "Oh, can you show me the chords to this song?" Which I know is going to happen someday, because it's got all these chords. And then he had this cassette with all the songs that was going to be the new album, and it was only the two of mine that were on it. I said, "Where's all my songs gone?" I said, "Oh, Morrissey's not doing them; he's doing these now." But it was just because he was hanging out with them. I were on tour, which was a sort of natural and evolution, and I got no problem with it happening or with them for doing it. It's just life moving on. So then I went down to Woolhall Studios in Bath, where they were recording, and I recorded I Know It's Going to Happen Someday. It says produced by Mick Ronson on that, but I was the person in the studio. Mick wasn't there when that happened, and he mixed it, but I was the producer really on that track. And but they played You're Going to Need Someone on Your Side, which they'd already done, and I thought, God, it sounds fantastic. The guitar sounds that Mick Ronson had got out of them and the way he recorded it was exactly what I wanted it to be like. So it was weird that, you know, it was kind of, it gone the way I wanted it to, and I didn't really get the acknowledgement for that, you know.
Was it at that stage where it was goodbye to Morrissey and you parted ways?
Yeah, because he wanted me to go on tour. He wanted me to do that Kill Uncle tour. But you know, his whole organization was very disorganized, and I kept saying, "Can you let me know when the dates are?" Because I was still signed to RCA Records. I had my own album coming out. I had all sorts of things that I was doing, and suddenly I got a call from Jo Slee, who was his assistant, and she said, "Oh yeah, got the dates of the rehearsal." So, "Oh, great, I'll get my diary to write them in." She said, "Yeah, well, we start tomorrow for 3 weeks, then we go to Los Angeles." I went, "What?" I said, "I can't do it tomorrow. Well, I've been asking you for months to tell me when is it going to start." And so it just wasn't possible unless I let down a lot of people, which I didn't like to do. And yeah, he wasn't happy about me not going. But then once he'd gone, I remember he sent me this letter that said, "Power to your elbow, but let's write the next album anyway." So I carried on sending him stuff to hotels in America and in Japan. I would just send a cassette ahead, so he'd turn up at a hotel and there'd be a jiffy bag from me there, and we worked that way remotely. And then when he got back, he'd sort of made this new relationships with Boz and Alan, and it kind of drifted apart. So that's life, you know.
Is there a sense of disorganization around Morrissey and his sort of team and how he works? Is it all a bit haphazard?
Well, yeah, because he doesn't really have a manager for very long. They come and go quickly. I don't know what he's like now, but it was, you know, I don't know. It was very much like, I think you have to really give your life over to him, you know. And I'm just not that sort of person. I'm not really meant to be in anybody else's band. Some people are. Some people are really good members of a band. You know, like obviously it wasn't Alan Worth for years. They were devoted to being that person, and they did it. And good luck to them all. But I was never that guy, particularly because I've just had my own success with my own band. So I didn't want to then go and be in somebody else's, even though it's Morrissey's, you know. It's a very different situation having your own band and then being in a band.
It has been said, it's sort of been hinted sometimes by people who have worked with Morrissey, that there's a bit of a cult of Morrissey, and you have to fully buy into it if you want to be on that ride. Did you get, is that sort of what you're hinting at, or is that a too sinister way of putting it?
Well, yeah, I think he really wants you to be devoted to his mission. I mean, that's absolutely fine, you know. I think that's, you know, that's kind of cool. You know, if you're going to be in this, be in it 100%. If you're not, get lost. That's absolutely fine. And if you want to be that person, that's absolutely fine too. But if you don't, that's cool. You know, for me, I could never be that person.
And so, of all the tracks that you wrote for Morrissey, is there one that you look back on with the most pride? You know, you're really proud of that song.
Well, I'd say probably I Know It's Going to Happen Someday, and I Changed My Plea to Guilty. I love those ones probably most of all. And obviously, David Bowie doing "I Know It's Going to Happen Someday" was just a thrill of thrills, because he was the sort of person who really inspired me to write songs in the first place. So that happening was something I could never have dreamt of, really.
Well, thank you so much, Mark, for joining us on the Morrissey and Wine podcast. I found it fascinating. Thank you for making the time. I know you're busy, so thank you.
All right, thanks, George. You take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
We interrupt your regular scheduled programming for a message from the Holy Hour, the All Cure podcast. We all know there's a big crossover between Smiths, Cure and Morrissey fans, and Gavin's show is a fantastic podcast. So here's a message from him, and I hope you listen in, because I'd really recommend it.
Hello, this is Gavin from the Holy Hour, All Cure podcast. And despite differences between our beloved Morrissey and Robert Smith, we're taking a hunch that there may be some listeners out there that also want the best of both worlds. So if you enjoy the one artist full immersion format that Morrissey and Wine do oh so well, come on over to the Holy Hour and join us for some in-depth Cure talk. We cover everything from album and album anniversaries to Cure fan origin tales and so much more in between. And you can find and listen to us everywhere that you stream podcasts, with over 275 episodes to backtrack through. Thank you so much to George and Chris for providing the world with this much needed quality Moz and Smiths podcast. Keep up the great work, and although the Cure will always be my number one, in my own sick way, I will always stay true to Morrissey.
So that was Mark Nevin. I really liked that interview. I'm sorry you couldn't be part of it, Chris, but
He's very selfish. George just keeps the good bits for himself because he doesn't want me to get too starstruck or ruin it in front of the real celebrity. So
that we could say that. I mean, the truth of it is that sometimes there's only a specific time. Mark's a busy guy and he could only do it at a certain point, and he couldn't do it when we were meeting in the studio. So he gave us his time. It could only be done at a certain time. That's why Chris wasn't in it. I mean, obviously it's better that Chris isn't in it, but what did you think of the interview?
I think it was great. I think it was really interesting. I think the thing that stood out for me was that the lack of communication with Morrissey.
Yes.
Like this guy's producing songs for Morrissey's album, and he hadn't really even spoken to him
until they were actually in the studio.
Yeah,
they hadn't
getting postcards, which obviously we know that Morrissey did postcards, but it's just ultra eccentric because it's like not like this isn't the most important thing going on with Morrissey. Like his next album, it's the biggest deal, surely.
Yeah,
but still, he wanted to communicate in that way.
I think it was also interesting that Mark seemed to think that Morrissey wanted to be better friends with Mark than really he did, than he was able to do at the time. And he said that he thought that you're going to need someone on your side. May have been written about him, Mark. You get this impression. I don't think it's so much the case these days, looking from the outside, but at the time, Morrissey was so shy and so socially awkward that even when he wanted to be friends with someone like Mark, he couldn't bring himself to do it properly.
It is really interesting that, because when you see Morrissey now, like we saw him in Manchester just and Glasgow and Dublin, I think because he's so witty and sort of owns the stage, like, he's like a beast on the stage. He owns it, like it's his, like, he's the person in that room.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine somebody like that could be shy.
Yeah.
But then but that also does relate. I do feel like I can relate to that, because when we did the live podcast, which I was really, both of us were sort of bricking it for that.
Yeah.
Afterwards, Gary, our producer, and I think Nanny Val as well, and a few people said to me that it seemed very natural, and you couldn't tell that you were nervous, which was really weird to me, because I really was. So maybe you can't always tell that from somebody. Maybe not that you're intentionally masking it, but it doesn't come across.
Yeah.
And maybe that's with Morrissey, because you don't think of him as being shy now. But then when he walked into, there was a video of him walking into the Glasgow show, and he sort of puts his hands in his pockets and sort of keeps his head down. It's hard to imagine somebody like that is then owning the stage.
Yeah. I think also this insight into Kill Uncle, it was a whirlpool of trauma. Everyone was damaged in some way, and everyone was plodding through. And I found that interesting, because when you listen to Kill Uncle, there are dark moments to it, but it sounds like quite a fun album and quite a lot of jokes in it and humor, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's tears of a clown, isn't it? I mean, often people who are struggling quite a lot mentally will create very funny work, very bright, sparkly work.
Yeah, yeah.
So thank you, Mark, for joining us on the podcast. You didn't have to do it, and you did, and we really appreciate it. So we're just about to go off and record Chris and George off mic.
Yep.
It's half an hour bonus episode where we sort of a bit more private, and it's just for Patreon members. And if you're interested in that,
Private, not our private parts. We're not naked.
no, it's not only fans, it's Patreon.
That's coming next.
Yes. So all we have to do is say thank you to Gary. Thank you, Gary.
Cheers, Gary.
Of Red Eye. Gary's production studio is called Red Eye. It's based here in Derby. If you have a look on our Instagram, you can see it says produced by Click Red Eye. You can click that link and see more of what Gary does, which is a lot. So thank you to Gary. Do we have to do anything else before we finish? Any housekeeping?
But you've enjoyed I think this is actually
Housekeeping.
what housekeeping. I hate that when you sort of have to then like come out the bed sheet and say, don't
just
come in.
go, no, like really rude.
Oh yeah, you remember that one? What was that?
I don't know,
Staying
Spain
somewhere.
maybe.
No. Oh, we were quite hungover. But I would like to say that this is the best wine we've had.
I actually think this is the best one I've had.
Yeah, this is good. I don't know what happened.
Well, because last time we went a little bit expensive because we misread the prices. This time we stuck to the £10 roughly, and they're both really good.
And this time the guy in the shop didn't look like a wine specialist.
No, he
Whereas
looked more
normally
like-
they look a bit like they know what they're talking about.
He looked like a surfer. He had like a bit of blonde highlight in his hair and some piercings.
Yeah.
I think he was on work
Warm
experience.
gin.
Yeah.
We sampled some warm gin. So
Anyway,
yeah, I do think this is the best one. So I think get this wine, Primavito.
yeah, check it out in the description of the podcast.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for now, we shall say cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to you at home.
Cheers.
Thank you for joining us once again, and Godspeed.
And God bless Scandinavia.
God bless Scandinavia. Ciao. Didn't like that quiz.
You're not?
No.
Was you doing it very well?